Hey guys, Matthew Morrow, MorrowInvest.com. So today we're over here at Shakespeare Festival. It is a gorgeous place. Let me show you a little bit. Get my head out of the way here. The Shakespeare Festival is actually was donated by the Blunt family, and it is a beautiful facility. We get to have some of the best world-renowned talent around the world that come and put on great plays throughout the year, and so it's a really, really beautiful place. And there's a great park. There's also a museum across the way, the Shakespeare Museum, and they have local and national artists that post things on a regular basis, sculptures, all kinds of great things. And so anyway, it is also an absolutely gorgeous day, and I was actually going to be over in the garden area, but they've got it all locked up, and so, but it's just too pretty of a day for me not to do this update out here. So hopefully you guys can hear me and the wind is not too loud. If it is, I can always redo the video. And I just wanted to share an update. It's the fall 2017. We're in the last quarter of the year, and I've been getting some interesting feedback about my page and my post, and you know, a lot of people are really uncomfortable talking about money, and it's like a taboo to talk about money, to say that you want to make a lot of money. And I do want to make a lot of money. And I don't think that's a negative thing. I think in our culture, we are a consumer culture, and our country, the U.S., buys way too much stuff. The majority of our country is based on debt. So not only do you get to spend your money until all your money's gone, we have extra money that we can go get in the form of credit. And so we can buy houses and cars and trips and stuff and education and all kinds of things on credit. And so we are very, very blessed in this country. And I know you've heard me talk about these things before, but I just want to reiterate again why I'm doing this and what some of my personal goals are to share with you guys. And I hope it helps you get to know me a little bit better and know some of the things that I'm striving to do. So let me tell you, we are so richly blessed. I don't know if any of you guys have ever been on a mission trip or ever been to another country, but I think one of the most life-changing mission trips I ever went on was when we went to Ensenada, Mexico, in Baja, Mexico, in the Baja Peninsula there, right down from California. And it was such an immediate contrast. As soon as we were headed south, we went through the border, and to the right is the beautiful ocean. There's a breeze coming off of it. It's gorgeous. There's these multi-million-dollar homes sitting along the shore. And then if we looked up out of the bus to the left-hand side of a mountain face, there was actually people that had dug holes out of the side of the mountain, and you could see that people were living just in the holes in the side of the mountain right across the street from a multi-million-dollar place. And that was just the beginning of the trip. You know, we went and worked with people that we doubled the size of some of their homes, you know, and their home was an 8-foot by 8-foot piece of junk that they had put together. And I'm not making fun of them. I'm literally saying that they picked up junk, any kind of scrap piece of metal or even billboards or old signs or whatever. That's what they took to kind of make this makeshift shack home. And I remember at the time when I went on my mission trip, I had 7 cars, and I was used to making a good income, and I had my lawn service, and actually, you know, one guy in a truck who's motivated, whether you be a painter or lawn service or whatever, if you're in some type of service, you're making $50 an hour. You know, I averaged between $50,000 and $75,000 a year. Relatively easy. That's 2 to 3 days a week of work. That's not working 100 hours a week. That's working 3 to 4 days a week at the most. And because I would cut grass on either Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or Tuesday and Thursday, depending on what all I had to do. But you know, at $50 a pop, you know, it didn't take long to make a lot of money. So I was making good money, and so we're down in Mexico, and we're doubling the size of this person's house, and I tell you, it is. I had never seen someone physically. Maybe in old-timey movies you might think of seeing somebody wash their clothes on a stone or on a washboard, but I actually, while we were doubling the size of these people's house, which again was only an 8-foot by 8-foot spot, we got to see this lady, and she washed her family's clothes for about 5 hours on a stone, and she would have a little bit of soap and a little container of water, and she would soap it up with her hands, put a little bit of water on it, and scrub on the rock, and then she would take that off, rinse it a little bit, hold it up, see if it still needed more cleaning, and if it did, she would soap it and scrub it again. And by the end of that trip, it was such a life-changing event. So one, if you guys have never been on any type of mission trip or been out of America, to really genuinely get a feel for how financially blessed we are. Now, I'm not saying that we as Americans were happier than they were, because that might not be the case. They didn't have any stuff, but were genuinely happy, which that might say something about us as Americans. But as far as them being blessed, here I had $600 in my pocket to buy snow globes and t-shirts and whatnot. And we had the guy's house that we were working on, he worked 6 days a week. We didn't see him all week. He worked in as a farmer, and he made $600 a year. And I had brought $600 with me just to buy t-shirts. So it's just such a life-changing event. So one of the reasons why I do this is because I believe I've been blessed to make a lot of money. I have made a lot of money in my lifetime, and there's plenty more to still make. And I know now that everyone does not have the same set of abilities. Just because we're all equal as humans does not mean the things that we enjoy or are good at are equal, because they're not. If I could slam dunk from the free throw line, right, and, score 30, 40 points a game, I'd be in the NBA. But that's not in my skill set. I can't, I can still touch the rim. I can still do that, but that's about it. So, those guys are blessed in a different way than I am. And everybody has different blessings. So, we're equal as people and as possible opportunity. But the reality is that just like in sports, some people are more apt to make more money than others. Now, I think we have a responsibility here. Now, you guys know, if you've kept up with my page at all, I'm a Christian, and I try to actually be a good Christian, It's not just in name. I actually believe that when I pray, that's where my blessings come from and whatnot. And so I try hard to live a good Christian life. And that may be a negative to some of you, but hopefully for most of you, you understand what I mean. It does not in any way mean that I'm perfect. It just means that I believe I am a steward of God's blessings, which is why, I struggle with buying stuff. How can I buy, a $100,000 car if I know that I could do other things with that money? And so, and we can talk about that a different time. So I want to talk about, because we are so blessed, and because I am so blessed, not only with education, but in the way that I know how to make money, the way I know how to market, I can really bless a lot of people with that information. And we do. I'm able to daily, I meet people for coffee, and we do mentorships and have a private investors group and all kinds of good stuff that I'll talk about later on that go towards helping people. And that's the goal, because if you can teach someone some new skills, teach them how to save on their taxes, teach them how to secure themselves legally and financially, and help set them on a path that they can then help more people, and on and on. That is the goal. That is what we want to do. So, it's not just about making as much money as we can, because money is not the key to happiness, right? you have to choose to be happy, but money just gets to help. And we know that as far as human beings go, the worst thing that can happen to you statistically is being poor. So, but I think we need to equate what does poor really mean, because if you're in America right now, which majority of the people that are going to watch this are going to be in America, and you make more than $34,000 a year, you are in the top 1% richest people in the world. Let me say that again. Right now, you can go over, and open up another browser while I'm talking, and go to theglobalrichlist.com, theglobalrichlist.com, and you can put in your current location and income, and it will tell you how you stack up against the rest of the world. So, keeping that in mind, how blessed you are, what are you going to do with it? Okay? So, some of you don't know what to do with it. Some of you have gotten a 4-year education. Some of you maybe even have larger educations. One of the things we talk about, The Millionaire Next Door, the book The Millionaire Next Door, talks about how highly educated people are not necessarily better with money. You've got a guy that's a neurosurgeon, and yet he doesn't know how to manage his money any better than, somebody with a high school degree. So just because he knows how to work on the brain, and is a doctor and has had, lots of experience and all that kind of stuff and gets paid well, he doesn't manage his money any better. Okay, so the good thing about learning how to budget and how to use the money that you're blessed with is, yes, that guy has more money, but if you have $1 million and you spend $1 million, you made zero, right? So if you don't learn how to manage money, that's why, it's a terrible stat, but it's like 96% of all NFL players that are making millions of dollars are dead, bankrupt, broke within 3 years of getting out of the NFL. So it's not necessarily money that's the issue. It's learning how to use money and make sure that you're doing that correctly. So one of the things that I am constantly amazed about is the education that's available. So I have an accredited business degree. I've been a financial advisor with a Series 763 insurance license. I was licensed in life and disability. I sold cancer, disability, life, short-term life, universal, whole, annuities. I could also sell any kind of mutual fund, IRA, annuity, stock, any of that kind of stuff. I was a licensed registered rep. And so I could sell any of those things, and I've been in business for 25 years. So, I have those experiences, and it is amazing to me how many people I run across all the time that do not know how to balance their checkbook, do not know how to set goals, do not know how to do inventory of themselves, do not know about taxes, do not know about corporate structure. So the thing is you can make a lot of money doing a lot of different things, but if you don't know how to keep the money for yourself, you're going to be in trouble. And so what happens is people jump out there and make a lot of money, and then they don't do their taxes right, and so they lose it all to taxes. Or they don't secure themselves with the right corporate structures, and so someone sues and they legally lose everything, right? We have that kind of stuff happen all the time. You don't think of a lawsuit being divorce, but that's what divorce is. It's the separation of one entity into two, and that's why stuff gets split. And the same thing happens in partnerships and all that. They can be very, very difficult. So having a good education is important, but having the right education is more important. So no matter what your degree is or how much you paid for it, it may or may not be what makes you money, okay? So I've had several people get kind of frustrated because they said, that if I really cared about people, I wouldn't charge. Well, I don't believe that, and I don't feel that way. I have several mentors that I've paid and would gladly pay again because they are successful in their own worlds, and they are running multiple businesses and they're spinning plates, keeping all these different things going. And if you guys have ever, let me give you an example of how it is to own your own business. Right now, think about all your bills, think about everything that you've got to pay each month, and tomorrow you no longer have an income. Tomorrow you just have to think up out of your head how you're going to pay for everything. That's how it is when you work for yourself. So the goal is, of course, that's why I like passive income streams and setting up passive income so that I can continue to get paid. That's why I've written and published 2 books. I've published 2 other books for other individuals. I have my private investors group, my mentorship, my YouTube page, on and on and on, these different things. My rental properties, all these things make me money whether or not I'm working or not. So I'm actually making money as we're sitting here right now. As I'm talking to you, I'm making money. I don't actually have to physically be at the job because what I've done is created income sources. That is not stuff they teach in school. They are still teaching to go to a job with a 401k and benefits, and that's where you should work. Although healthcare is going crazy, most people, work a full week. They don't know if anything's happening in their 401k. Over 50% of Americans now are not putting any money towards their retirement. 65% of Americans don't have $500 to their name. So if something goes bad, an illness, a broken leg, a car goes bad, something, they have no backup plan. Okay, and so these are things that they're still teaching in school. Oh, you need to get your master's, you need to get your whatever, and they're not actually saying this is how you make money. I have a degree in business administration from an accredited business school, and I'll tell you, only about 2 of the many, many classes that I took had anything to do with making money. And so, yeah, it's important on what kind of education you get. So something that I think that we're going to transition into talking a little bit about continuing education, because I think this is so important and valuable. Continuing education is ongoing, and it's continuing because the information continually changes. So, the laws, like if you say, oh, I know all about accounting, I don't have to learn anything else. Well, they're constantly changing the laws. They're changing what the credits and debits are. They're changing what kind of tax write-offs you get as a business owner, right? So just because you have a degree 10 years ago, you have to do continuing education. And you have to do that in any industry. It just blows my mind that business people don't do this for themselves. So no matter what industry you're in, it doesn't matter what it is, whether it's a plumbing, plumbers or roofers or whatever, there's an expo at Vegas or Orlando or somewhere that you can go to and get this continuing education. Some places even require you to have continuing education to keep your license. I know for me, to keep my insurance license and my Series 7 and my 63, I had to do regular CE credits, continuing education credits. And I believe most major businesses are going to have some kind of continuing education. But for you guys that work for yourself, the game is constantly changing. Look at Walmart. This is a perfect example. I'm going to have some Starbucks. That's another corporation. So look at Walmart. Walmart was started by Sam Walton, who had like an 8th grade education, and now his children are on the top 10 list of richest people in the country, in the world, I believe. And he just had this great idea, like, hey, why don't we sell? Because the way it used to be is you had the manufacturer, and the manufacturer would sell it to the wholesaler, and the wholesaler would sell it to the retailer, right? And then the consumers bought from the retailers. And so Sam Walton just said, well, why don't we just sell from the wholesale house? So he cut prices and went back to the wholesale prices, cut the retail side out, and made the wholesale side the new retail side, which cut prices. Then Walmart took it a step further and actually started going back down the food line and said, well, we'll manufacture our own. We'll make our own whatever, XYZ widget, right? We'll have our own farms, and we'll farm our own lands, right? And so now the farm or the factory is the salesperson, right? Because Walmart has now cut out the retail and the wholesale, and now they're making the stuff and selling it. And so, but what has happened in the last few years? Amazon. Have you guys bought anything off of Amazon? I have. Tons of stuff. I mean, if I can sit at my house and order things off the internet, or while I'm on the fly, like I'm driving down the road and I'm like, oh man, I need that. Yeah, order it. And I can order it from my cell phone anywhere in the world, and it'll be to my house in 24 hours, 48 hours. Yeah, if I don't have to go fight through a store, that's great. Well, that's changing the game. I mean, it really is. So anytime there's a new innovation or automation, it is going to affect your business. So, I have a bunch of friends. A lot of people like to go into business for restaurants. Restaurant business is a really hard business to go into because there's so much competition. Every time a new Domino's open up, every time a new fast food joint opens up, even every time a new restaurant open up, that you're fighting for that same group of people. So I want to tell you that because I'm not looking for 1 million followers, right? Kim Kardashian has 93 million followers. I'm not trying to be Kim Kardashian. I want my goal, and I'm just sharing with you guys some personal goals of mine. I want to pour my life into I can handle about 20 people in my mentorship group. Those are people that I take one-on-one time with, that they have constant access to me 24/7, and we do deals together that we will split 50-50. So people that are in my mentorship group not only get access to anything and everything I've ever done, every spreadsheet I've ever done, all my files, they have access to them. I give them full access. That's $2,000. Then I have my private investors group. Now this is because I feel like there is not a good place to go. I've listened to Bigger Pockets and all these different web cam shows and podcasts, and it's a lot of fluff. I mean, there is so much fluff. There's so much BS, honestly, that it's hard to get the actual answers. And so I wanted a group with about 100 people. I don't want more than 100 people in there, I don't believe, at least not right now, until I get some more admins. So it'll be about 100 people. And so the mentorship, I can handle about 20 people. And we have about 3 more slots for this year. If you're interested in that, you can contact me. And then the private investors group, we can handle about 100. Right now, we're about 20% capacity, so we have more room to grow there. And there, you can get actual answers from other business people, other people that are in the business, in industry, that are making and creating and working, right? And it's very, very important because it will allow you to have access not only to me. Again, I've already gone through my little resume, but then you also have the other people in the group, as well as all the continuing education that I continue to pay for. So I still am paying for continuing education every single year. And a lot of people will get confused because they'll say, oh, he's talking about real estate. Guys, business is business. It doesn't matter if you're a plumber or a neurosurgeon. You're still providing a service for a fee. So you're either in a service industry or a retail industry. That's it. That's all you got. So business is the same no matter which type of business you do. So I wanted to create a place because I've researched a lot of other places, a lot of other people that have these private investor groups, and they call them lots of different things. Their gold team, their diamond team, their whatever. All right, I've seen a lot of different ones, and they all have a different agenda. And honestly, most of them, this is just my perspective. I am all about 2 + 2 = 4. You just tell me the answer. Tell me how to do it. I don't need to be motivated. So I find that a lot of them are fluff. They're a lot of motivation. I mean, I've heard people talk for hours, and I'm like, what's the answer, right? They don't get down to what I call the meat and potatoes, which is how do you actually do it? Tell me the process, right? And they won't tell you. And so that's really the bait and switch is they're getting you in the group, but they're not actually telling you anything. But you're pumped up and you're excited but I want to know, what are the tax consequences? How is that money taxed? Is passive income or is earned income? What's my liability? Like I had a guy the other day I was dealing with that was like, oh, I'm going to make you so much money, blah, 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 blah. And he got mad and no longer contacted me because I asked him a few legal questions and he couldn't answer, and he got frustrated. He said, I do this all day and twice on Sunday, and I don't, and I'm like, I'm just asking you if I'm liable, right? That's a genuine question, and you should be able to answer it, especially if somebody's going to give you money. You should be able to answer their questions, okay? So that's why I do the continuing education stuff. So we got the mentorship, we got the private investors group, and let me talk just for a second to you guys that might feel like, well, Matthew, I'm nowhere near starting a business. I don't even want to start a business. I don't want to be a business owner. I'm just an individual. I would still tell you that there is a great value in the information that you're getting because a couple of things. One, we have accounting software, we have real estate software that has lots of contracts, calculators, all kinds of things built into them. But you also get access to my Udemy course. So again, this is if you're either in the mentorship group or the private investors group. You also get access for free to the Udemy course, which is a $200 value, and it is how to be financially free. And it walks you through the process of being debt-free and how to invest. And again, I think that it is a really great value. I wish that they would have had something like this when, I was 18. I would have paid for it all day. I mean, but there is not. There is a lot of fluff. You can go to Bigger Pockets. You can go to forums. You can go to blogs. I have not found that you can ask questions and get a genuine answer. You get somebody's opinion, right? And there's a lot of opinions, right? It's not the actual information that you need. Let me tell you one more thing. This is the fourth thing of 6. I want to promise you guys something about me and about my page and about YouTube and Instagram and all that kind of stuff, social media in general. Again, I don't care that Kim Kardashian has 93 million followers. My goal is to not, I don't have a goal to have millions and millions of followers. I don't care about that. I want to pour my life into 100 people. That's it. Just 100 people is all I'm looking for. 100 people that I can, through my knowledge and my experience and my connections, help fund their deals, help find deals, help them put tools in their tool belt so that they can make better decisions with their money, right? Those are the things that I want to do. So again, I'm not out for followers. The reason I say that is I've had a lot of people message me about my image and that I needed to dress better or I needed to whatever, right? I mean, some of these guys, they'll put up, like gold banners behind their head and have special lighting and sure, their videos look cool and crisp and everything. But look, do you want the information or do you want to be entertained? If you want to be entertained, this is not the right page for you, okay? So I'm going to give you actual information. And this might be one of the reasons why I was not really successful as a financial advisor, because people would come to me, they would want to invest, and they'd have $250, but yet they'd have $30,000 in debt, in student loans and car payments and credit card. And I would say, you need to pay off that debt before you worry about investing. And they'd be like, well, I'm ready to invest. And I'm like, well, no, you're not. And so I would actually give them good advice and wouldn't sell them stuff, right? And that's not, I guess, what salesmen are supposed to do. They're supposed to sell you stuff. But I happen to have a conscience, and I believe that God's blessed me and that I shouldn't take advantage of people. So just because I can sell people things, that does not mean that I talk my way into selling them stuff that they don't need and or don't want, which a lot of salesmen do. And so my promise to you is that I'm never going to do those things, and I'm not going to be a clown. I haven't made this real public, but I got offered a TV spot on a popular TV network, and I think it's okay to say, I don't know, it's A&E, and it kind of like Flip This House kind of thing, and they were wanting to do one on trailers. And so I had a lady that I had worked with at a trailer park at one of my mentors' events, and we went and worked in his trailer park for a couple of days with him. And then we got to meet and be with each other and learn and train together at night. Well, I have a great time when I work. When I work, guys, I have a blast. I have grown up working hard in my mom's catering business and again in my lawn service, and that is some hard, grueling work. I don't know. I tell people about catering. I say I should teach a catering course, charge $2,000 for it, and when they get there, say, yeah, see these 300 boxes of potatoes? Yeah, you're just going to, here's a knife, you're going to stand here for the next 18 hours and you're going to cut potatoes. And that's catering. That's what catering's really like. Oh, you're done with that? Okay, here's cheese. We got to cut up cheese for 1,000 people too. Here, cut up cheese, right? Now we're going to do tomatoes, right? It's just, you're just standing in one spot with a knife. It's nothing glamorous. So any of you guys that have ever worked in a kitchen know that's to be true. But anyway, so I just want to tell you that I'm not, for the A&E thing, anyway. So she wanted me to be on her show. I think that she wanted me to be on the show because I would be the comic relief idiot from Alabama that was going to be like, well, hey guys, for doing these trailers, guys, I am not doing that. I am not going to make a fool of myself. Now, some of you might think that I've already done that, but I don't. I won't purposefully, at least. I'm not going to entertain you. My goal is not to jump around on stage or have flashy videos or, I'm not doing all that stuff. If you're on this page and you want to know what 2 plus 2 equals, I'm your guy. If you want to say, Matthew, I'm working really hard, I'm really smart, but I am not making money, I need your help, I can help that person. If someone says, Matthew, I've been in business for 10 years and I've done really well, but the problem is I have to keep doing what I've learned to do, because if I slow down or stop, I know there's this brick wall coming and I'm heading 90 miles an hour towards that brick wall and I don't know how to stop. That's somebody I can help. I can teach you about passive income streams, how to be more tax advantaged, and how to fire yourself, how to set up income streams so that you're not working constantly, and you got to be able to plant seeds for things coming in the future. So I can help you with that. That's the kind of person I can help. And also I can help the person that doesn't know how to write a budget, that's in a mountain of debt, that doesn't see the light at the end of the tunnel. They think's a train. They don't see a way to get out. I can try to help that person too. Okay, and guys, I have paid hundreds of thousands of dollars. That's not a gimmicky thing for me to say. I have literally paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to learn, and I continue to pay to learn different techniques and put tools in my toolbox and make myself a better speaker, a better communicator. I want to be able to convey the things that I've learned to you. And so, I continue to pay for those things. So for you to pay $2,000 for a mentorship or to pay for one-on-one training, that's cheap, guys. Is my time not worth that? What about for the private investors group? $30? You can't afford $1 a day. Really, $1 a day? Sweet tea or Coca-Cola or whatever your beverage of drink is, if you get any kind of soft drink, that's $2.50 to $3 for one drink a day. Don't even count if we're talking about beer, cigarettes, or anything else. You can't afford $1. So I don't feel real bad for charging $1 a day. I think for the level of information you're going to get, it is well worth the expense, okay? And it's a tax write-off if you guys are doing it as a business expense, which you should be. All right, so let me talk about 2 more things, and then we'll be done. One is deal funding. I have not advertised this a lot because you can get a lot of people. I like to screen people. I want to work with honorable, good people, and so you can get flooded with emails with people wanting you to fund their deals. So let me be real clear about this. If you're watching this and say, "Oh, Matthew said he would fund your deals and do deals with you," not exactly. So I will help you fund deals if you are one of my mentorship students, okay? And if you're in the private investors group, we can do deals together, but I'll more than likely pay you a finder's fee. I'm not splitting stuff 50-50. That'll be reserved for my mentorship students. That's kind of like a bonus for being a part of our core team. And so we'll split deals together. I mean, I'm doing a house flip right now. That's about a $40,000 profit, hopefully. And we do these things on a regular basis. I was working on buying an entire neighborhood that I've been working on a couple of weeks, and that may or may not work out. You never know. If it does, great. If it doesn't, we just move on to the next deal. That's just how it goes. So there is deal funding available, and we're talking from as small as $100,000 all the way up to several million. It just depends on the project. The larger the deal gets, if you start getting over about $3 million, we'll have to start involving multiple people. But I tell people, they get so bent out of shape with percentages. Don't let a percentage kill your deal. If you have the opportunity to do a $10 million deal or a $20 million deal or a $100 million deal, and you can only get 5% or 10%, take the money. Take that 5 or 10%, right? 10% of $100 million is better than 50% of $1 million, okay? You can do that math on a calculator if you like. But you should not say no if you can find people to help you fund your deals. So that's important. Lastly, I want you to make sure to be praying for our country. If you're not a person of faith, I hope you are. Please say a prayer for our country. We have a lot of great things that are happening, and I think that the media in general is both on both sides. It doesn't matter if you're watching Fox News or CNN or whatever. They make their money off of sensationalizing everything. And so, I think it's important to remember that, guys, we're all here together. We're all trying to do the same things. We want to have a good life. Maybe eat too much on Thanksgiving that's coming up. We want to have our families, have our friends, people we love and care about. We want to work a good day, and then we want to have a good meal and have our weekends off. And guys, we're all looking for the same thing. We want education for our children. We want, security, all those kind of things. So don't listen to the news, right? Open your eyes and just look around, and you'll see that things are actually a lot better than what people think. People say, oh, these aren't like the good old days. These are terrible days. Guys, these are the best days. The best days are right now, and they are what you make of them. So I encourage you to pray for our country, and I also hope you will pray for me. I take prayer very seriously, and I covet your prayers. I hope that you will pray that I am successful. Pray for our country and our leaders, and I'll be praying for you guys. I regularly pray for those that are in my mentorship and our private investors group, and anyone taking my course. I really, I want to make sure that people get all the education and the things that they get a good value for the money they're given. And guys, I hope you guys have a blessed day. It is absolutely gorgeous out here. It's a little chilly, but I'm a big guy. I love it chilly out here. I hope the flag knocking has not been too distractive. But guys, I hope you have an awesome week. Do not hit cruise control as we go into Thanksgiving and Christmas. Just because it's the holidays does not mean you need to be putting the brakes on and just taking an aside until next year. No, you need to finish strong in this last fourth quarter and take that extra time and make things happen this last quarter. Guys, I hope you've had a great time. If you've missed any portion or popped in here at the last minute, feel free to go back. The video will be live here in a minute, and you can go through it. And I'll also be posting it on Instagram, so no matter which social media you're on, you should be able to find me. And guys, I really appreciate it. Keep me in your prayers. I love you guys. Have an awesome and blessed Sunday.